They say the bond between a mother and daughter is a bond that can't be broken. But what about the bond between a father and daughter? Aly Eagle is a junior at Penn State Behrend and a member of the women's basketball team. She has ups and downs just like everyone else, but she knows where to turn when she's in need.
Me and my dad have always had a sort of special bond. Not that me and my mother haven't, but me and my dad have always had something special. And we literally, we don't even have to do anything, and we're having a blast. My dad is the sexiest man alive.
Aly has been playing basketball for over a decade. Even though she played other sports like softball and soccer, basketball has always been her go-to sport.
I have been playing basketball since I was in 3rd grade and haven't stopped at all ever since. No matter what I played, nothing was like basketball.
To play a sport for so many years requires not only dedication and discipline, it requires love.
I would say that I do love basketball so much because of my dad. He's always taken me to practices even though I didn't want to go, and pushed me whenever I didn't want to be pushed. And he made me fall in love with the sport so much that I was obsessed with it.
To say that Aly's basketball career is impressive wouldn't be enough. It should be described as extraordinary, remarkable, and moving. She has suffered through loss, injury, and heartbreak, but she continues to rise to the challenge each and every time the basketball is in her hands. When she was a senior in high school, her world was collapsing around her. Aly was being smothered by the stresses of life, but when she felt like she couldn't keep going, her dad was always there to pull her through.
The hardest thing that I've ever been through is my senior year of high school. And it started off with me getting mono. And that was just as soon as school started, and I was excited because it was my senior year, and then I got that, and I was out of school for 2.5 weeks, and I was out of basketball for a month.
Just when Aly thought that it couldn't get any worse, it did.
In November, one of my friends passed away in a car accident, and his name was Charlie, and I honestly hadn't lost a grandparent or a friend or anything yet, and it was my first experience with death. And it was something that was very new and different to me, and something that I struggled with a lot. And he definitely helped me get through that. And then my grandfather had a heart attack and had to get quadruple bypass surgery just as soon as my senior season was starting. And for the first game of my season, my grandfather had surgery that day. And my dad was in the stands, of course, and he told me just to play for him, He'd be happy that I was playing. And I had 33 points. So I definitely played with a big emotional tag on me that night. So my dad definitely got me through that. My grandfather was fine, thank the Lord. And then in January, my good friend Shannon passed away in a car accident. And that one hit home a little different because she was an athlete as well. She played lacrosse. And we were very close. Shannon knew my dad. My dad knew Shannon very well. Shannon was a lot like my dad, and I think that's what scared him the most. And I remember looking into his eyes the day we had a game on Shannon's funeral. And I played, and I didn't want to, and it was the worst. But my dad went to the funeral with me, and I came home and I just cried and didn't want to even play that night. Again, he was like, just play for her. You won't regret it. And I had like 27 points that night. And it's definitely my dad's influence to get me to do those things because I didn't want to play. And who would want to play when you're suffering something like that? A tragedy so big. But he had me focus on something else instead of that and playing for them. And it was a huge thing to be able to overcome something like that, to just play. That was definitely my dad's influence. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't have even played. The day of Shannon's funeral, and I played, and we had a great game, and we hadn't won game in the whole season probably. And we won that night, and we had a great game. And it was great because the school came out for it, and it was like a big kind of together building with how much we had been through in our senior class. And the stands were going crazy, and they were celebrating that we won. And I came out of that locker room, and my dad scooped me up so big, and we just bawled on the court together. And that was really, that was rough, and that was one of the most emotional things I've ever been through. But he held me, and we balled on that court together, and I just I know that it was Shannon that helped us through it, and that's just one of the many things that my dad has helped me get through in my life to make me who I am today.
The bond that Aly and her dad share is truly something special. They will always be there for each other in good times and bad.